Salutations everyone, and this week we're going to be going over Sinestro, the arch nemesis of Hal Jordan and the entire Green Lantern Corps. Sinestro of Kurigar was once known as the greatest member of the Green Lantern Corps. The Guardians herald him as their go-to guy, the right arm of the Guardians of the Universe, and they needed something done. They needed someone they could trust. They sent their man Sinestro, much as they would send Hal Jordan in many instances soon afterwards. Sinestro was selected by the Guardians to become a member of the Corps for his honor and fearlessness, and leading Sector 1417 became almost entirely devoid of all crime and lawlessness under his vigilant protection. Throughout his time in the Corps, Abin Sur was Sinestro's best friend and trusted confidant. So much that they considered themselves brothers, and Sinestro eventually falling in love with and marrying Abin's sister, Erin. Having a child together. After the fall of Sinestro, he was never able to see his daughter again for quite some time. The predecessor to Abin Sur after his death, Hal Jordan, became somewhat of a protege of Sinestro, as the Guardians saw a lot of potential in young Hal Jordan and needed their best Green Lantern to train him. The two became quick friends. It was a harsh relationship at first, but they soon began to respect and trust each other as members of the Green Lantern Corps, and Hal Jordan learned everything that Sinestro was able to teach them in their times as Green Lantern together. However, in their first diplomatic assignment, Hal proved to be reckless, and Sinestro believed that he was a waste of his time. Upon returning to his home planet of Kurigar, they were met with very much opposition, and Hal discovered that Sinestro had been forcing his planet to worship him under a dictatorship with very strict and unjust set of rules, completely going against the Green Lantern ways, instilling fear into his population in order to create rule and peace. Hal knew that he could not be a bystander to this, and after testifying against him, Sinestro swore revenge against Hal and the rest of the Green Lantern Corps before being banished to Quord in the Antimatter universe. There is where he meets the Weaponers of Quord and forges himself a yellow power ring to counter the Green Lantern Corps, creating a core of his own, using the power of fear to create his yellow constructs instead of will, as the Green Lanterns would use. Sinestro and the Green Lantern Corps would have many battles throughout time, none more important than when Sinestro manipulates his once protege Hal Jordan into becoming a villain himself. Following Crisis on Infinite Earths, Sinestro is captured and imprisoned within the central power battery on Oa. Within that battery, he speaks to Parallax, which was the source of the yellow impurity in all Green Lantern rings. When Parallax gained control of Hal Jordan through the manipulation of Sinestro, he knew the time was near. After defeating the entire Green Lantern Corps under the possession of Parallax, Hal forces the Guardians to free Sinestro as being the lesser of two evils, giving him another green power ring. In a great long one-on-one battle between the two, Sinestro finally did what he needed to do to bring Jordan over the edge, allowing him to snap his neck. After this, Hal gains full power of the battery and goes on a rampage as Parallax, being eventually defeated. Being free once again, Sinestro forms his own Corps, the Sinestro Corps, forging yellow rings for all of his combatants, who have shown the ability to instill great fear in their enemies, something that the Green Lanterns have known themselves to try to resist against. And in starts the War of Light, starting with the Sinestro Corps War, where Sinestro knew that in a long drawn-out war, he would force the Guardians to allow lethal force to be used in combat for the Green Lantern Corps, a power that had been restricted in the past, igniting the war with the rise of the Red Lanterns, the Indigo Tribe, the Blue Lanterns, and so on and so forth, eventually leading to the Blackest Night storyline. So Sinestro is not one to be trifled with. He is a very, very powerful combatant, just as strong as any Green Lantern before him and those after him, able to take out many other powered aliens within the entire universe. Sinestro has proven himself throughout the years to be more than a formidable foe for both Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern Corps, as well as the rest of the DC universe through many storylines, trials, and tribulations. Through his leadership of his own Sinestro Corps, his indomitable will, his intimidation, his innate understanding of the fear of others, being able to access even without his power ring, and his genius-level intellect, able to create schemes better than most other villains throughout the DC universe, being able to see what the heroes will do ahead of time, and always finding levels of success in his plans. Sinestro is the embodiment of fear in the DC universe, and is one that everyone should account for in any sort of struggle or battle, knowing that he has some sort of scheme or plan with great understanding of how the heroes will work, being at once the greatest Green Lantern himself. Through a friendship with Hal Jordan being strained and eventually broken in Hal's discovery of how Sinestro was able to keep the peace in his sector for so long, the two had a strained relationship that grew into one of brothers in arms, ultimately leading into a long-standing rivalry between the two, once brothers in arms, friends, and partners, much as Albin Sur had been to Sinestro in the past. However, this friendship was not one that could be stabilized and stay strong throughout the years. They each have an underlying respect for each other, at times coming to realize what they had seen in each other, their times as partners in the Green Lantern Corps. However, these are times that cannot be resurrected, with Sinestro now being the complete antithesis of what the Green Lantern Corps stands for. And with Hal Jordan, although having his troubles with the Guardians, will always stand for what is right, what is good in the world, and will stop Sinestro at any cost. Once the greatest Green Lantern, now their greatest enemy and threat to peace within the universe, Sinestro, one of the greatest villains in the DC universe, with a very unique past against those that he strives to fight against. Join me next week where I go over another villain who at one time could have been friends with those that he fights against, Lex Luthor.